Okay, happy Wednesday. I'm so excited to be back with y'all because you know that I took off on, what was it, July? I don't know, it was just last month. And I had a whole pretty much 30 days to just sit with me, myself, and I, and all of my thoughts. So I just want y'all to know that I am so grateful to be back because while it was a much needed break, my brain had all the ideas and I'm ready to be able to implement. Hey, Antwada, hope you are doing well today. I am going to share my screen and we are going to get started. So, what I'm going to do is a little light orientation just to make sure we're all on the same page. And then I'm going to open it up for anyone who has questions. So, whether you are watching in Circle, you're watching online, if you have any questions related to your dissertation, let me know. Here's what I also want to say before I get too off into these slides. This is a new academic year. And so I want you to ask yourself, who do you want to be for this academic year? So who do I want to be? How do you want, let me say it a different way. How do you want to feel? How do you want to look back and reflect over this academic year when we get to next summer, when we get to May, June of 2026? What story are you going to tell about how this academic year went? Is this going to be the year that you become doctor? Is this going to be the year that you finish your proposal, depending on where you are? Is this the year that like you get a new job? What is happening this year? Life isn't something that has to happen to you. Life can be something that you decide. What essentially I am asking you to do is to decide who you're going to be. How are you going to show up? I am not saying decide to be someone who is all about perfectionism. I'm asking you to decide to be someone who is like, I'm going to give it my best effort. But go deeper than that. What does that look like? What does it look like to show up and give your best? And you know how I like to say here, like, we're doing the bare minimum. Now, these two terms, you might be like, they don't even go together, but in my brain, they do. If I am showing up at my best, let me tell you how I think about it. If I'm showing up as my best, I'm telling myself that my goal is to do one small thing a day. For me, that is my best. Because when I get into this zone, and maybe you can relate, when I get into this place where I'm like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to have a perfect plan, I'm going to do everything I said I was going to do, how I said I was going to do, because I have a tendency of over planning, of trying to put everything on the list, I end up burning out before I could really build momentum. But when I'm showing up at my best, I'm saying, listen, I could sit here. Let's say, for instance, I could sit here and work and write for 5 hours, but I didn't really sleep that well last night. So if I'm going to just give the bare minimum and do my best, I'm going to show up for 30 minutes. And in that 30 minutes, I'm going to write a shitty paragraph. And if at the end of that 30 minutes, I wrote my paragraph and I'm good, then I will decide if I will do more. I don't go into it being like all day marathon session because that is the quickest way to set yourself up. So I'm trying to give you examples. When I'm asking you, how are you going to show up for the rest of the year? What are you going to make this year mean? How are you going to decide to be? I'm saying, what is your if we got to the end of May and I asked you to look back on the days where they weren't necessarily your best, like they weren't necessarily like, oh, I went all out, but they were the days where you're like, I did some things. That's what I'm asking you to reach for. How do you consistently do that? I'm gonna make that make more sense as I get on into this, but I just wanted to start off by I want you to reflect on that. So you can let me know in the chat what that is looking like or will look like for you. And then we are going to just making sure we're going to get into this. Okay, y'all. So I want you to prepare for success. We often prepare for things not going well, but what if things exceeded your expectations this year? What if you exceeded your expectations? What we're going to talk a lot about in August is the difference between knowing you need to do something versus actually doing the thing, which is why I'm asking you to think about your baseline. I want you to go into this year and be like, I'm not going to do what I did last year. And last year might have been your best year. Last year might have been when you made the most progress. And I'm still asking you to take it up a notch. You already know what you should be doing, right? You got no one who's on this call just with me. You got plans on plans on plans. What I want you to do is take it further, ask yourself, how do I get myself to do that? What do you personally need in order to show up and execute your plan? Do you need more accountability? Do you need to eat more food? Do you need to lay down some more? Do you need to hydrate? Do you need to quit some committees and some extra things that you have on your plate? Like, I am asking you, what do you need in order to show up at your best? So happy New Year, y'all. Throughout this, make sure you put your questions in the chat so I can, at the end of this, I'm gonna answer questions and take it one by one for those of you in FYD. But please put your questions in the chat. Okay, this past weekend we had the 10 pages in 2 days writing retreat. If you joined, shout out to you. We do this retreat every month. It's usually the 4th week of the month. So our next one is Saturday, August 30th and Sunday, August 31st. What will you be doing? What will you complete at the next 10 pages in 2 days? This one was a little bit different. I don't know if we're coming off of summer vibes or whatnot, but I would say we spent a lot of time talking about the relationship you have with your dissertation chair and committee, and to treat them as who they are, which is your colleagues. When you treat your committee as your colleagues, you are honest with them. You are more, you tend to be more like, this is what I can do versus this is what I don't have, I'm not available to do. When people say they're going to give you feedback and it's 2-3 weeks have gone by, you have no problem pulling up and being like, hey, where's the feedback? Because you're treating them like you would a colleague. That's not saying you're not being respectful of them. It is saying that, hey, we're on a team and we're equals here. And in the same way you expect me to show up and meet deadlines, I also expect you to show up and meet deadlines. We talked a lot about two different models of AI, so we nerded out about that. And I'm trying to avoid going off of script and plans and doing a whole AI workshop. But maybe I just need to do an updated to the using AI as your research assistant workshop. So if that's something y'all are interested in, let me know. But I love the tone and the attitude people walked away with, and pretty much saying like, this committee is going to get what they're going to get because I'm leaving. Like Deasia, I'm graduating. I don't know what the rest of them doing. I'm graduating. So whatever I need to do to get it done, that's what I'm going to do. And we're going to talk about just like the resources available to you to help you. The other thing I want to point out is we talked a little bit on day 2 with Chris. And I want to remind you that the reason why we treat committee members like colleagues is because you may falsely assume that they know everything there is to know about your topic. You may be giving them more credit than they deserve. And again, this is not about, I don't know your committee. It's not personal. I just know that you are focused on an area of research and you think about it in a different way than your committee. And it is better for you to prepare that you are educating your committee as much as they are educating you about the research process. You're just giving them a different perspective or a different way to think about the topic. While they may be familiar, right? We talked about levels of the 10 pages, right? They may be at a level 2 or 3 where they have some working knowledge of your topic, but you are at a level 4, which is the highest in this example, and that you have a certain expertise and they are coming to you to learn. And so we need to learn how to write to a crowd or an audience of people who are learning about the topic for the first time. And even though I say this, I know it's hard to think about that when it comes to faculty. And so I love how Chris is just saying that he revised and resubmitted 8 times. Y'all think about that. He revised and resubmitted the proposal like 8 times. Are you willing to do that? And was still coming up against a wall, and he had to realize, oh, they don't know. They don't know. I just assumed that they knew, but they don't know what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to need to write or approach this in a different way. But if you have any highlights from 10 pages, let me know. And like I said, our next one is at the end of this month. Let me check in. Can y'all hear the grass thing outside? Because if I need to move, I need to move. It's distracting me, but I'll get over myself if it's not distracting y'all. But can y'all hear that? Like, is it really loud? Let me know. Now I lost my screen. Okay. Y'all know what I forgot to do, and ain't nobody even say nothing. I forgot to ask you what your numbers are because it's not here. Before I get too deep, how are you doing? How are you in your focus, openness, peace, and scholar basics? We usually, but I forgot today, start our calls off with this just to check in. How are you doing on this Wednesday? It's August 6th. Some of you might be in some arguments or some tension for the astrology. There's just a lot of tension in the air. My podcast episode on Saturday goes deeper into why, but I'm just going to say, please drink your water. Take a deep breath before you respond because some of us are going to be in screaming matches with people. But I would say I am, despite only having like 4 or 5 hours of sleep last night because my brain wanted to wake up doing random things. I feel like I'm on fives across the board. I'm feeling really good on this Wednesday. I think because I'm just so excited to be back with y'all. Okay, you can't hear it. Thank y'all so much. But how are y'all doing? Fours across the board. You're on the Amtrak train and it's working. I love it. Um, I used to dream about just getting on the Amtrak and just taking it from one starting point to the next. Because can't nobody bother you. Can't nobody rush you when you're on a train. You can't do nothing. You just gotta go with the flow. And I thought about like just doing work and writing and reading while on the train. Listen, Antoine, you are here, and those twos will increase as time goes on. Thank y'all. Let me know your numbers. Have you been drinking your water? I have a whole thing of water here because, especially when I don't sleep, I try to make sure I stay hydrated. How is journaling going? My gift to y'all when I was away for July, I gave you a journaling challenge. How many people did it? I know some of y'all were doing it on Thursday night with Dr. Winston, but did you happen to look at that guide? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, cough, cough. Did you do your journaling? I'm hanging in there, trying to get through summer school grading before we go on our staycation this weekend. I was thinking about you. I was wondering, did the year start for you yet? But you're getting through summer school grading, so I'm guessing no. Just give them all. Okay, I can't say that to you. I was gonna say give them all A's, but I know how you feel. Give them all B's. What are grades? A social construct. Okay, Donica, you look you are in a great mood. Okay, while y'all give me your numbers, I'm gonna give you my first tip. Let us support the real you. I know that it's the new year. I know that you may be feeling some pressure to get things done. But what I'm saying in terms of let us support the real you, let us support the messy, hot mess, can't get right version of you. Show up, especially for those of you who have been in this group for a minute. You know that nobody's here to judge you. We're here to like help you figure out how to make it work for you. What I don't want you to do is try to come up with some sort of plan for your ideal best version of you because come September, late October, that version that you're like that ideal version you're pretending to be will fade away and the real you will show up. So I just feel like we should just cut to the chase, focus on the real you, make a plan or a process for the real you, one that you could actually show up. So here's an example. Instead of saying, oh, I'm going to write every morning from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. Monday through Friday. If you don't already have a habit of waking up at 4 or 5, let's not start right now. Okay, let that be something separate from the dissertation process. Instead, when do you actually wake up? Do you wake up at 9, 10? I don't know. I'm making up numbers. But if you wake up at 9 o'clock and that's your natural time, how do we make a plan for that version of you? So how do we figure out how to get you to work from 9 to 11 or figure out how to work on your lunch schedule versus you trying to wake up at 5 o'clock when you don't have that habit? Because now you got to develop a habit of waking up early, develop a habit of going straight to work after you wake up, and then develop a habit of writing every morning. It's just too much for the brain. So let us support the worst version of you. That's like how I like to think about it. They really are a social construct. This is ongoing discussion. Listen, why do we need grades? I'm not really sure. Okay. So I already talked about 10 pages being every month, the fourth weekend of the month. In between those writing retreats, we have our weekly calls. And so our schedule has shifted a little bit, especially if you have been here over the summer. We have I like to say streamline the calls. So Mondays are our scholar planning sessions where you're going to set a plan for the current version of you, for the real version of you. Then on Wednesdays, like we are right now, from noon to 2 Eastern, I will be here answering questions, coaching you, helping you through the process. And then this evening and Wednesday evenings, we have our Write With Us, which is co-writing and community. We do Pomodoro. I don't want to get too ahead of my slides, but it's your time to have accountability and community and get words on the page. Oh, let me say this. There are no calls on the 4th week. Why? Because I want to model to you that when you have something big coming up, like a 2-day writing retreat, you need to prepare for that retreat. And how you prepare is take time off because you won't have your normal weekend. So take the week to rest, recruit, and prepare for what are you going to write on the weekend. So we have no calls the 4th week. Oh, somebody's talking to me, but I don't know who it is. Who's talking? Oh, Chris, are you talking to me? All right. So Monday, what you're going to do is a 2-hour call. You're going to come and you're going to evaluate your last week. What worked well for you? What did you actually get done? You had a plan to work X amount of days, but how many days did you actually work? How many hours did you put in? And what results did you produce? Y'all, I will say this. This will be a hill, okay, that I will just I don't like the word die on, but that's the phrase. This is my hill, okay? It's not so important about the plan for the next week. The evaluation, and I argue, is more important than a plan. When you evaluate what's working for you, what's not working for you, what helped you to show up and put words on a page, what were the actual results you produced, that's going to tell you way more. That's going to shape your behavior way more than you continuing to write that same old tired to-do list you've been writing week to week to week. When you evaluate the real you, what's working for the real you, it makes all the difference. If you've been following Kristen on Instagram, because she's been yelling, and I feel like I've been personally attacked, but she's been talking a lot about, at least the content I've seen, is that it's about the process. Like most people focus on, I need a list of things to do, or I need a schedule, but most people are not talking about the process. FYD is helping you with the process, right? Because y'all are all brilliant people. You know what to do. The issue is doing what you know you need to do. Coming on Monday will help you evaluate what's going on, help you figure out, okay, what environment, what people, what strategies, what resources help me to show up and do what I know and what I want to do. And it's only from that I then would say you decide what you're going to do for the next week. So the second part is deciding your schedule. How many hours do you literally and energetically have to give to your doctoral task for the week? The goal here is to aim for a 10-hour routine for the week. But the point isn't that you do 10 hours every week, because every week you're not the same person. Right? This week, you might be like, oh, I'm going on vacation, or I just got a lot more downtime. But 3 weeks from now, you might be in the middle of the fall semester. Maybe you're a teacher, you're back in the classroom. Maybe you have kids, they're back in school, and you're just trying to get readjusted. You may not have 10 hours that week. You may not have any time that week. So that's why we decide every week what the schedule is going to be. Then once you know what you have available, then you decide, what am I going to complete? I would encourage you, I just like number 3, just identify what are the 3 big things that I'm going to do that'll help me get closer to achieving my goal for the month. There's a whole process on Monday. This form, if you are a private client, you definitely got this email that was like, hey, you need to complete this. Everyone will get an email on Monday along with the newsletter with a link to this. Now, like I said, y'all are grown. You do what you want to. But I will be checking this to see how your progress is going. And especially if you are a private client, No, this is a requirement because you signed up for this level of trolling and accountability. So I just want to make sure that you're tracking this. Whether you attend the call or not, complete the form. It's more for you than for us because you're going to get a copy of it. But at least you can look back over your time in the program and say, what did I do? What did I not do? And even if you felt like you didn't do anything for the week, still complete the form because it's about the habit. Okay. So I just want to reiterate for my second tip, make a plan every week. Even if your plan is on a post-it and you just write down, here's the 3 things I'm going to do, and you put it on your laptop screen, make a plan every week. At least give yourself some direction. Okay, any questions or anything? Let me check. Okay. I've been finding that the last number to give myself a little harder these days, like sleep has. Listen, I don't know. Sleep, I don't know her. I don't know if it's the perimenopause. Okay. I don't know what it is. Every morning at 3:30, 4 o'clock, it's a whole dance party. Boom, boom, boom in my head. And I'm like, I would just like to sleep through the night. But this week I'm also making sure I get a little more movement in and back to being more intentional with my water, for instance. Yes. Listen, what I even been doing like the magnesium, trying to I've been trying to help my brain, but it's not. What do you mean? Perimenopause starts at 37, 38, Danielle. Did you not know? Listen, the people got to do more research because I'm not gonna go down that tangent. Okay, I'm not. It's something. That's what I'm blaming on. I like that reason. Okay, the second call of the week is the weekly Q&A, which is what we're doing now. We are working on a process for you to be able to submit your questions. And so in general, what that will look like is there will be a form. You will submit your question. You will get a personal response to, protect your personal information. And then I will give a more general response on these calls so that it can benefit everyone. As you have probably noticed and witnessed that anytime anyone has a question in a group, usually a few more people have that same question, but maybe they didn't know how to articulate it or it just never occurred to them to ask. So you are doing people a great service when you ask your question. But Wednesdays would be for me to check in and continue to troll, and see how y'all are doing. But seriously, to troubleshoot anything that's going on and to help you figure out your next steps. Whether you show up to this call or not, my next tip is to find someone, even if it's your like niece who's 2 years old. Okay, find someone and verbally tell them, hey, this is what's going on with me this week. This is what I was able to get done. I want to shout out Chris again because Chris, whether I could respond or not, would send me an Instagram DM voice note every week to tell me what was going on. And so I had an idea, but I'm willing to bet if I was asked Chris to talk, that did a lot about being able to mark, okay, this is what I have going on. This is my progress. Because in this dissertation journey, especially, there's so many moving pieces, but so much time is going by that sometimes it can feel like you're not making progress, like nothing is happening. Like, you're showing up every week, you're writing every week, you're talking to your chair, but like, it doesn't seem like you're moving forward because you haven't hit a major milestone. When you verbally tell someone, hey, this is what's going on, it helps you to focus on the small wins and celebrate it. Not in this cliche way, but to be like, oh, I'm not where I was 2 months ago. I'm making progress. But accountability, y'all, if you go look up the definition of the word, it is having someone or something outside of you witness. This is what I said I was going to do. This is what I actually did. And this is why this is what makes up the difference if there's a difference. When you tell someone, even if they understand the process or not, it helps you stay on track. Do y'all like these pictures that Canva have? They were making me really laugh. Okay. And then the last call of the week is the Write With Us. I would encourage you to focus on producing one major result in the 2 hours. An example would be, I am going to write a 3-page paper about my theoretical framework, or I am going to review, categorize, and respond to the comments or my chair's feedback on my literature review or something like that. Like, what is one thing that from start to finish you can do on these calls? When you come in, someone's going to greet you. Someone from the team is going to greet you. The first 10 minutes or so is just checking in, doing your numbers. How's everybody doing? What are you going to be working on tonight? Everybody reports out. You don't have to turn your camera on because, it's Wednesday and you probably got a lot going on. But at least if you could put your responses in the chat, that would be helpful. So you say, this is what I'm working on my discussion chapter. I'm going to write my implication section. I'm going to do 3 shitty paragraphs. You put that in a chat. And then the person who's leading the call will lead you through Pomodoro sessions. It's 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. And that helps you to keep moving while taking breaks. You'll be surprised what you can get done in a 2-hour period. And if Chris is leading the call, listen, you better get in while you can. You got 5 minutes to check in because he's going to start the clock. I don't know. I love Chris, but you gotta be ready to work. But community will keep you focused and accountable. My tip 4 is to show up to at least 1 call a week, especially when you feel behind, you feel overwhelmed, you have no idea where to start. Even if you showed up to this call and you were like, please help me, I don't know. I'd much rather you do that. Like, I'm not going to make you feel bad about it. I'm going to help you find at least one thing that you could do, because for me, what's most important is that you are taking action, no matter how small the action. And I find that the people who show up at least to 1 call, they're making consistent progress. And have the spirit of Virginia. Virginia shows up and uses every call as a work with me or write with me session. So do that too. We have resources. So if you need any additional support, if it's in between calls, you're like, I don't know if I want to ask a question, go peruse around in either the dissertation vault or the resource vault. Find something. Let's see. If I was completely overwhelmed, I would say start with the plan your dissertation call. At least it'll help you get out of your head, taking action and making a plan. If you are in the middle of writing, you could rewatch 10 pages in 2 days, like especially at day 1, and go through the process and write. You could, if you're in the middle of revising, because I know quite a few people at the 10 pages were working on revisions, watch the revise and resubmit. Even if you were there live when we did it, watch it, go through the process. It will help you. Like I said, we will help you to show up with something to your chair, to your committee, to your course, wherever you are in the process. The point of this is to help you get into a rhythm and to be able to produce something. I'm going to go on a little bit of a soapbox type rant, and then I'm going to come back. Your chair, your faculty, most people are not, they're not clear in how they discuss their expectations. Like, as humans, we walk around with all of these unsaid expectations because we think that other people think and work the same way that we do. And so you might be doing your due diligence and you might be going to your chair and you might be like, hey, what would you like for me to start with? And they may say, oh, go work on the literature review. I want a full, perfect version of the literature review before you submit it to me. Well, what does that mean? Because their idea of a done or a perfect literature review may not be your idea of a done and perfect literature review. Like, we're using words, but no one is operationalizing it. And so they may have meant, I want a literature review that's about 10 pages. It could be missing some citations, but it is clear that you ran it through Grammarly, you went to the writing center, and you gave it a good effort. Your idea of done and perfect might be, it's 50 pages, all the citations are covered. I read it, 300 articles, it's solid, there shouldn't be no changes needed, no need for feedback, right? Y'all are saying the same thing, but those are 2 different things. What we are helping you to do is to be able to show up with a solid draft that's about 70 to 80% done. And you go to your chair and you say, hey, here's my start. please let me know what you would like for me to change. Because only typically, when you give faculty something that they can read and they can, give you feedback on, that's when they can get clear with their expectations. I wish they could tell you in the beginning, but it's a human thing. It's not a faculty thing. It's just, as humans, we're not used to clearly spelling out our expectation. Is only when someone gives us something and we can critique it that we can say, no, I thought you were going to do XYZ. So I say that to say, get comfortable with feedback. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is, how do I get somewhere between 70 and 80% solid and then give it to my faculty, knowing that they're going to give me way more feedback, but at least the feedback is going to tell me exactly what I need to do. Okay, put a 1 in the chat if y'all are with me. You might be working, you might be writing. That's fine. I just want to, I like some feedback. Wait, what happened? Oh, let me go back up. See, maybe if I looked at the top. Okay, today's post-weekly planning is the bare minimum. Stop yelling at us. No, don't stop yelling at us. Keep going, because your following is growing. Perimenopause has been starting a little earlier, and millennials are finding themselves starting earlier. Listen, thank you, Dr. Barnes. Okay, help me over here, because I'm like, something's happening. It ain't normal. Your grandma's having hot flashes at 90s. Go off, queen. Go, like, that is amazing. Okay, thank you for the 1. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. Okay. I am doing the most right now. I'm multitasking like a boss, working on syllabus, and answering emails. Okay. What is your favorite part about FYD? See, I already had a question in here. I should have just kept going with my slides. Do you have a favorite part about FID? It could be a technical part, it could be people, it could be anything, but do you have a favorite part? I am curious. I was listening to an old podcast episode from 2020, and it just reminded me of how the Wednesday night calls started. I used to call them Right Away, and they were Wednesday nights. And then they turned into, like, in the middle of the lockdown, they turned into like a happy hour / writing time. But it was a different world in 2020. It just, it amazes me of how far FID has come in the past 5 years, because I started it January 2020. And we're about to turn 6 years old. It's wild. So the writing calls, the community is still my favorite part. Come on, I'd say thank you, Danielle. Okay, I appreciate you. That's let me do a full heart. Thank you. Graded and scrolling because I don't want to grade. Okay, in the community, the community is unmatched. It's unmatched. Explaining the process. I'm a person that needed to know the steps and how to do them, and no one would say clearly to me. This space has given me that and tools to get it done. Yes, I often wonder. And this might sound, I don't know, a little bit strange, but I often wonder if I'm too clear, like if I make things too simple at this point. And I don't mean that like a humble brag. That's how I walked away from 10 pages, because we got done real early, and I was like, wait, maybe it was too simple. Maybe I need to go through the process more. But y'all let me know. You give me feedback. Write with us. Yes. Here's a random thing going back to 2020. I'm very nostalgic. Today. I had a business coach in 2020, and it was 2019. And I was telling her, like, I have this idea. It's going to be called Finish Your Dissertation. It's going to be a whole, group program. And she was like, why do grown people need help, like, staying on track? It's just a study hall. Who's going to pay for a study hall? And I was like, girl, you are my business coach. You're supposed to be figuring out how to help me do this. And I just looked at her and I was like, clearly you have never been in the doc program. Now, she does have a law degree, but I was like, being a lawyer is not the same thing. Okay, no shade, but it's not. And I'm telling you this now, it was random, but the lesson here is people are going to tell you, whether it's about your research, your approach to anything, there's going to always be people who tell you something can't work or it's not needed, but trust your gut. what is true for you. And I'm just saying, trust your gut because, yeah, people just don't get it. She didn't have my vision. 5 years later, I'm like, girl, you didn't know. You could have, if it was up to her, I don't know what I would have been doing, but it wouldn't have, I probably still wouldn't even be a dissertation coach. Okay. But that's the thing. It is that it's simple, but simple is not the equivalent to easy. Absolutely. I think that's, thank you. That's a nice reframe because I'm like, yes, it's simple. And I know that people don't believe me, but I'm like, if you just follow the steps, listen, this is something I was explaining to I had my coaching call yesterday. And my coaches, we were talking about like strengths quest, and I was saying like, oh, my number one strength is restorative, meaning for funsies, I look at a process and I'm looking for where's the point of tension, where is it going to break, what are people not noticing yet that in probably a week, a month, a year, they're going to have a hard time. Like that's what I do for fun because I like processes. I just don't like maintaining them. Okay. I am a person who will give you something that will absolutely work. Now you might be like, girl, but you seem to be inconsistent now. Following a thing, it's not the same. Okay. This is why I have people around me to keep me accountable. I'm not sitting here being like, I'm perfect. I do everything perfect. Nope. I have people around me. That's why I have a coach. That's why I have team members who are the opposite, who think opposite. They're more detail oriented. Me, I'm like, oh, I did the thing. I'm over it. I'm ready for the new thing. It is important to have a community of people and knowing that even though something is simple, it's not always easy to do it. So thank you. Washing the dishes is simple, but it's difficult for me to complete it. Absolutely. That's why when my dishwasher broke the other day, I was in shambles. It took me a whole hour to wash dishes. I said, was I doing this every night as a teenager? That's wild. Listen, God's calling wasn't a conference call. It was yours. You've been talking, we need to give you some bumper stickers. And that's what we need. Yeah, we need FYD bumper stickers. Do people use those anymore? I would. Okay. Follow a rhythm, y'all. So I'll speak for me because I don't want to, project anything on you. If I'm not careful, I will get into this place where I get so rigid that I'm like, every day must look the same way. Every week must look the same. And it's rigidness because I'm going towards perfection. But when I say, nope, it's not about perfection, it's about a rhythm. A rhythm means I know that I do these same 3 habits every day, but I may not do them in the same order or at the same time. I am asking you to try to go more towards the rhythm point of view than a rigid schedule. If you are like me, you might love this time of year because you get a planner and you're like, from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., I'm going to do this. From 9 to 10, I'm going to do this. From 10 to 11. And that might be cute for a day or two. But if you think your every day is going to be like that, eventually something's going to happen, something external to you, or maybe internal, maybe you get sick or something. But I'm not trying to wish that on you. But like, say somebody is late, or like the person who was going to come and fix the dishwasher is 2 hours late, and it ruins your schedule. And if you're so rigid, that could derail you. And then if you're like me, if you get derailed on one thing, now 3 weeks have gone by and you can't figure out how to get yourself back on track because your whole plan was ruined. I feel like if one piece of my plan gets ruined, I don't want to do anything else. So I have tried to really work on practicing flexibility. And the way that I do that, or I say that to myself, is I have a series of habits. I don't have to do them in the same way or the same order, but I do strive to do it every day. So a great example would be the Scholar Basics, right? It's a practice, it's a rhythm. It's not saying every day, if you don't drink 64 ounces of water, lay down for 6 to 7 hours, journal for 10 minutes, move your body for 10 minutes, or write a paragraph. If you don't do that every day, then you're ruined. No, it's like, I'm trying to do this every day. It's my intention to do it every day. Some days I got the water a lot and I did some journaling. Other days I'm like, sleep was good. That's all I got. Some days I'm writing all the shitty paragraphs. Other days I'm not, right? But it's about every day is a new opportunity to practice it. I'm hoping that reframe helps someone. Okay, tip number 7. Here's my suggestion in terms of how to prepare for success. One of the things I've been hearing as feedback is what makes it hard for you to show up on a Monday call and do the scholar planner routine is that your life includes more than your doctoral related tasks. So here's how I would approach it if I was you, to give you some framing. On Sunday would be the day that I would be like, okay, a new week is about to start. I'm not going to get caught up in anybody's Sunday scaries. I'm going to see what is coming up, what's on my calendar. So, especially for those of you, assistantships, 9 to 5s, like how many meetings do you have on your calendar? Is there any special events coming up? Do you have to go to a birthday party? Are you going on vacation? Are you are there some big chunks where you know, like, yep, that's already set, it's solid? Then I want you to think about, what are you going to eat for dinner? You might be like, that's strange. Yes. Okay. We're going to make the hardest decisions, usually the hardest decisions ahead of time. And dinner is one of those decisions where you're like, I'll figure it out when I get there. And like I said, like if you like me, Wednesday come and you like, I don't know what I want for dinner. And me, I'll be like, you know what? This cereal, this Fruit Loops look good. And then I'm not eating what I need to, and then it throws me off. You don't have to do a whole meal prep, but my biggest suggestion would be to decide what you're going to eat for dinner. Because usually breakfast and lunch is typically the same. You probably have go-to things that you eat, but dinner is the wild card where you're not always sure what you're going to eat. And if you live with other humans, then you have to play that game. What do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want to eat? And that is a lot of fatigue and energy you're trying to put out on a Thursday night when you're over it. So on Sunday, instead, think of 2 to 3 meals that you will eat for the week. If you need help, look at what you ate last week and repeat it this week. That's the easy button. And even if you get to the middle of the week and you decide not to eat one of those meals, that's fine. But if you get to, I don't know, a Tuesday and you don't know what to eat, you can look back on your list on Sunday and that's what you go and you make in the kitchen. So Sunday would be, in general, what do I have going on in my life? What's going on at work? What's going on for dinner? If you have little people, anything like events that are going on with them, like think about Sunday as an overall life like plan. Okay. And then when you get to Monday, let Monday be, what am I going to do for my dissertation or for my doctoral journey? Because Sunday, you would have given yourself a chance to set up for the week and have an idea energetically what you can do, as well as what time you have available, so that when you show up on Monday, you're like, okay, I'm clear. I have 4 hours this week to dedicate to my dissertation. I'm going to put these 4 hours on Monday night and Wednesday night. That makes it easier to decide your schedule. Wait, let's say you attend the call on Monday night. That's 2 hours of your 10 hours. You make your plan for your doctoral process. And it may only take you 30 minutes or an hour to make the plan. And then you have another hour to do some work. But it may take you 2 hours. It depends. Okay. Tuesday, I would suggest that you find 2 hours in your day to work on a task. So it could be during your lunch break. Maybe you wake up 30 minutes early. Maybe you do an hour after work. But finding 2 hours on Tuesday, because you already have momentum. You made a plan the day before. So Tuesday is probably the clearest you're ever going to be that week on what it is that you need to get done and how you want to get it done. So use the momentum and do Tuesday. Stop giving your best time and your energy to your job. You have a goal. You want to be doctor, and you get to put your goals first. You gave that job the time, you clocked in and out. Every time afterwards, why don't you give it to yourself first? That's a tip. Okay, on Wednesday, come to both calls, one calls, come in and out, but get your questions answered and get some work done. Right? Y'all are on this call right now, getting things done while you're listening to me. That's 2 hours. Then if you come tonight, that's another 2 hours to work in community. Wednesday could be the only day you show up for your doctoral process, but you still would get a lot of work done. So that's 4. Then Thursday, to close out the week, I would spend 2 hours just, tying up any loose ends from the week of things that I said I was going to do, that I didn't get done. And then I would end the week with either emailing or meeting with my chair. Y'all, this is important too. And I don't know if this is me getting ahead of myself. No, this is important that you communicate with your chair every week. That is my expectation of you in this group. Send them an email or ask for a Zoom meeting or pull up to their office hours. This is about showing them, demonstrating to them, hey, I'm serious about this because I'm graduating. Let's say I'm graduating in May. You may not believe I'm graduating, but I believe I'm graduating. And because of that, I need you to be up to date with my progress. So you're going to get this email every week. You don't have to respond. I'm not necessarily looking for you to respond every week unless I explicitly say respond, but I'm just telling you what's going on so that when I submit an entire proposal or entire dissertation, you're not looking at me like you're not looking at me strange. I've been working on this. A lot of your attention and issues and communication challenges that you have with your dissertation chair could be resolved if you emailed them every week. Again, you can put in the subject line, no need to respond. Or when you do need them to respond, put in the subject, action, please, and make it very clear. Here's what I'm asking you to do, or what I'm asking you to respond to, or what I need your help with. Make it easy for them to help you. Right? But that's 10 hours, right? Monday, 2 hours, planning your dissertation. Tuesday is 2 hours, completing one of your tasks. Wednesday, you could put in 2 hours. That's one task. Thursday is another one. Right? Communicate with your chair. That's your 10-hour process. What would it look like to only work Monday through Thursday and let your weekends be your weekends? Or if you do want to work on your weekends, at least there's no pressure associated. Now, here we go again, Kristen, where this sounds simple, but I'm sure some of y'all are fighting the air and telling me why it's not that simple. It's not that easy for you. Which is why I wanted to point out these wins that I saw come in as I was on break over July. Let's say shout out to everyone. Let's see, Kristen, you defended your proposal, did RB, is halfway through data collection. Bonnie defended, Noreen defended, Carolyn defended her proposal, Ashley defended her proposal and has RB. Kirsty has submitted her final dissertation, and Tasha is coming back. I'll probably miss some posts. If I did, let me know. But y'all, like, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate our wins. Am I done? Okay. Oh, before we get into questions, I want to say a special shout out and thank you to Paul Scholars team. Y'all, like, I have never, if you would have asked me in January, do I think I was going to really take off in July? Now, I put that on my plan, but I have been putting this on my plan for the year, for years. Like, yeah, I'm going to take off a whole month because that sounded kind of wild to me to say I'm going to take off a whole month from the business. I would take off time here and there, but like business wise, no. But I did it. One, because accountability looked different this year. I was a little scared that if I didn't do it, I don't know, Kristen was going to show up to my door or something and be like, girl, give me your phone and your internet. But I got like, she's a little scary. She's tiny, but she's scary. So I did take off in July and y'all held it down because things kept going. People got help. People were getting wins, getting reports. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Any questions? What do y'all have going on? Let me stop sharing. What do y'all have going on today? What are we working on for this week? Does that work? Stop. Okay. Yes, let me. Okay. What do we have going on? What is your one thing for August? So wherever you're watching this, tell me what is the one result that you are going to produce by the end of August? And what do you need? What obstacle do you need to solve for in order for you to complete that goal? So let's say that you are You're going to finish your data collection this month. Or okay, Chris, I'll go with you. You're going to finish coding, and you said that your committee is going to get a draft of your findings and your discussion. What obstacle is going to get in the way because I read your form? You're coming home. So I know home and traveling is going to be an obstacle. Chris, what I want you to think about is, let's go, let's say 40 years in the future. That version of you who's doctor, who enjoys sitting on your front porch. I feel like you at that age is still drinking your whiskey and smoking your cigars. Let's go to that version of you. What advice would they tell you about, traveling to Georgia, being around family, and still working towards this goal of analyzing your data and writing up your final chapters? What advice would they tell you? What would they tell you to stop doing? What would they tell you to start doing? What harsh thing would they tell you out of love that you need to hear, but maybe you don't want to hear? Yeah, I do this all the time because we have the answers. Like we all know what's best for us, but we just need time and space to hear it out loud or to be able to tell ourselves. So I just usually pick the age of 85. You don't have to pick the age of 85. You can say 90, you could say 100. When you are in your golden years, when are you going to look back? What are you going to tell yourself about this? Because most of the time, because this is one of my favorite things to do on TikTok, is to go watch the creators who they just be in the rocking chair or in the kitchen, cooking, giving life advice. And one of the things that I hear all the time is you don't have to work so hard. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself. You can figure it out. For the interviews that I have completed, transcripts will be cleaned, complete data collection. My main obstacle is getting ready for the semester. My faculty workload this semester is 6 classes, maybe 7. I don't understand. Y'all keep telling me these numbers Danielle, I don't understand. When did you start getting course loads of 5 5s and 6 6s and 7 7s? When? What? Go work for Chipotle. That Trader Joe's, Costco pays 6 figures. Who needs this? When they said enroll 10K students, find another endowment. I don't know. Okay, no, this is not helpful to you. All right. So you have 6 or 7 classes. What is the biggest concern about that? Is it being able to manage 7, let's just say 7 classes along with dissertating? Is it more like annoyance that you have to do 7 classes? Is it, are you worried about not having any time for yourself? Let's go deeper into the obstacles. So for everyone else, when you're thinking about your obstacle, go deeper. What about it is making you concerned? If you are, let's see, more around managing them, each section has about 30 students, my life, dissertation, and consulting. Why are you the perfect person? Who you are? Why do you have the perfect, what I forgot to do? There was a slide I forgot. It was just about to make my point. Why are you the perfect person to handle this? Why are you made to do 7 classes while dissertating in your life and traveling and consulting? Yeah, I want to make sure I'm saying this more this year because I kind of went away from it. You know enough, you have enough, you are enough. I made this because I was this is back in the early days when I was only doing private coaching. And this is what I would say all the time. And I believe it in my bones. Who you are right now, you know more than enough information, literature, etc., hack strategies to be a doctor. You have enough support. You have who you are is enough. I'm going beyond the clichéness of this. most of the time you think you're missing something, or that people know something that you don't know, or that people got like a handbook that you didn't get. Like you go into, especially this time of year when you have to do like program orientations, and you have to get together with people. You may start comparing yourself and being like, oh, so and so is further than me, or they got this grant, or they got this, and you might be thinking you're missing something. No, you're not. It's coming down to deciding that that's what you want. Is that what you want? So it might not be what you want to do 7 classes, but I'm assuming there's a version of you that you want to be. Kristen, the Pisces Virgo combination. You're made for this. You have a Virgo moon. Okay, I'm bringing astrology in this. You have a Virgo moon. You're made, like, this is perfect for you. Now, you might be annoyed that you have been assigned 7 classes. You might have told somebody 3, 4 months ago that this was going to happen, and now you got to deal with a mess. But are you really concerned about managing them? I have seen you work. So I know this is nothing. What do you need? Like what, let's say we get to November, Kristen. How will you know if you are managing this well or this is too much for you? I'm sure there's more than those 2 options, but I'm just trying to give you some prompts. How will you know that this is going well versus it's not going well? Oh, you're gonna move to your office in your apartment. Are you decorating? Are you a decorator? Danielle, do you decorate? Ooh, it's official. It's official. Oh, that is cute. Oh, it cut off on us. Or did it cut off on me? Oh, because I'm talking. How do I make it go back to you? Where tradition meets innovation. That is cool. Um, yes, congratulations again, and go dogs. Thick 'em. I love it. What I would say, Georgia and its strange money rules and whatnot, like, there's a lot of rules, what you can buy, what you can't. I will say, especially at UGA, you will get your supplies, especially in the faculty world. You will get all the things you need. Yeah, listen, that's gonna happen. You can get the tickets. Yeah. Well, keep us up to date so we know what it looks like. Intentional windows. Um, okay, Kristen, you said it is going well if you hit all your milestones. See, that is a very Virgo answer, right? Because there were other things you could have reached for, but now I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. It is not going well if I don't hit my milestones. Okay, for you, Chris and Wada, and whoever else is relating to this, um, I want you to think about in the middle of, so like Kristen, think about in the middle of you assigned a paper by, I don't know if you did this because again, the Virgo-ness, but let's say you had a big assignment due across all your classes and you're in the middle of grading, plus you're in the middle of going back and forth with your chair and her handwritten feedback. And there's just like there's people reaching out to you because they want to work with you for as a potential client. All of that is hitting you at one time. What is it that you're telling yourself? If you're at your best and everything is going well and you're hitting all your milestones, what is that conversation like in your mind? What do you tell yourself? How do you feel? Okay, the scenario is exactly what I am afraid of happening. Okay, but let's say it did happen. Worst case scenario, it did happen. If it was going well, what would you be saying? Even in the midst of those circumstances, what is happening up here? What is the story you're telling yourself? How do you feel in the midst of this storm happening? And everyone else who is listening to me, I want you to imagine it's October, November, and you feel like you have so, you look down at your calendar, there's no white space. There's no time. But if you were at your best, if you really felt like, nope, I'm made for this, what's happening in your brain? What's the story you're telling yourself? So, Chris, let's say you have to travel even more back and forth, because you've been going from Illinois to Maryland to Georgia. Like you've been doing this. What if you have to do it double the time? What are you telling yourself? What does that feel like? I know this is a stretch for your brain, but I want you to imagine that your circumstances in terms of your schedule can be just jam packed and you could still feel like, what is it? Cool as a cucumber. Like, yep, just another day in paradise. I was made for this. It's not going to last because in a month, the semester's going to be over. I could do this. What's a couple of more weeks? If it went well, I would be saying, how can we maximize our time to get through these? See, Carolyn, I know you don't believe in the astrology. Okay, but Kristen right now is being a full Virgo moon, and you're a Virgo, right? You can relate to this. How do we need to rearrange our schedule to support this week? I will likely feel overwhelmed, but I would try to build in time. Okay, let's try this. How could you have those same scenario, Kristen, without the overwhelm? What do you think would have to happen beyond people being better than they are? Because I know that's where the answer is going. What would have to happen for you not to feel overwhelmed while all of this is going on? I am telling myself I need to plan for multiple places. So I'm working on my schedule for when I'm in Georgia. And maybe, Chris, it's something like, I don't know if there's like a co-working space in the town or city that your family is in. Um, I don't know if there's like, because I feel like here's my strategy when I'm with family, I have to leave. Because I feel like there's been time where you done told your mom, like, hey, girl, I gotta do this thing. And she's like, yeah, I just got one question. So maybe you need to actually leave for an hour or two when maybe your brother is away as a caretaker or something, and you like, okay, girl, I'm gonna see you. I'm gonna go over here for 2 hours. Maybe that's your plan in Georgia. I'm just trying to give ideas. Okay, I would need to scream. I would need to cut something out. Like I need a space to complain that I don't want to do all of this because it's too much, but ultimately I'm still gonna do it. Okay, so do you have your go-to people, Kristen? So that's important to know, right? Because in no way am I telling y'all to give me perfect answers, because how did I start this conversation off? Do it for the real you. The real you need to complain about it, right? The real you need to scream, and you probably need to throw something. Who is that? Is that going to be your partner, which I'm sure because you live with them? Is that also going to be other friends that you could call? Do you need to have like a set date every week with a certain person that you say, we come to this call or we go out for drinks and our whole purpose is to complain? Like, that's the whole point. We're going to complain for 2 hours and then we're done. That's the only time we complain for the week. Okay, probably my voice notes. My bestie. Yeah. You need anything else? Do you need something? So you'll have, right? You need your voice notes, you need bestie, you need to get it out. Is there anything that you need at work that will help you? Do you need to have like certain go dark hours? So the door, but the door being closed don't mean nothing to a college student, okay? Because they will camp out and they'll be like, I'll just wait for you to be done. Or just tap at the door until you let me in. Okay. My mother talks right through my telling her that I gotta get back to work. At least listen, okay, I can call my mama and I could be like, girl, I only got 10 minutes. Okay, I just need to tell you something real quick. 40 minutes done passed. I'm like, I said 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I'm going to stick to this call schedule as much as possible. I have to keep up the momentum to get this done. When are you going to get this done by, Carolyn? I can't remember what your intended graduation date is. I am worried about my time management every new semester, but especially this one since I want to graduate. Oh, this I should have probably looked up. So you want to graduate this? Okay. Mhm. Mhm. It's made up. Mhm. Mhm. That's the hardest term for me to understand. I'm like, what is this asynchronous? What does that mean? I don't know. Don't I don't need to teach it. That's what I understand. Well, I say like you, Chris and Chris, Ashley, and Wada, maybe you just have a thread going in circle where y'all all report back to see how is the road to December graduation going. I was thinking about having a Wicked theme birthday party because it comes out, I think, on my birthday or around my birthday, and it's year 40 for me. And I just feel like, making people dress up. Why not? We can have a sing off. That's how nerdy I am. I do get into the musicals and Wicked. Yes. Listen, I will sing too. Okay. Um, means as a little kid, I was a witch every Halloween. The same. I was like, girl, we don't need this is a costume. What was she in the movie? Okay. And now my brain is going down a rabbit hole of a array of experience, diversity of experiences. Um, yeah, I just feel like if WhatsApp works, it works. But if it's like since we in circle, because maybe I need to double check, but you could do voice notes to each other. Um, so yours is December 1. Yeah, I usually tell people to aim for around Thanksgiving as your deadline of like everything is end or at least the defense is scheduled. Because y'all like even though there are hard and fast timelines, they can still be extended. There's always grace to be giving. Your chair, though, like a faculty person, usually has to go to the graduate school on your behalf and say, "Can you give them an extension?" There's also the option of you can participate, like if there is a true December graduation, you can participate in graduation even if you haven't defended yet, like as long as you do it in a certain amount of time. My point is there's a lot of options that you can have and still meet your December deadline. But I want you to go into this asking yourself, what do I need? So you have time blocks at work. Let's see, do you need to and this is not only for Kristen, but everyone else too, like do you need to request a day of remote work or 2 days of remote, like working from home? Do you need to actually use the dissertation hours that your job provides for you? For some of you, they give you Friday afternoons off or they give you Monday morning off, but you're not taking it. You're doing work instead of doing your dissertation work. What would help you to actually take advantage of those hours? Um, yeah, body doubling. So write with us is going to be important. And y'all can always come into the community and say, hey, who's down to write and join the Zoom room? That's available. Let me go check over here to see if there's any questions that I missed. Okay. If there is anything that comes up, I'm not seeing any questions. I mean, we can hang out if y'all want to do some writing or some work. But I am available for those of you. Some of you got, and I just want to do quick announcements, and then I'll just open it up to see what y'all want to do. Some of you got emails about renewing your agreement. If that was coming to an end, there's a special enrollment price, so that ends tomorrow. If you need to upgrade to private coaching, I am taking private coaching clients, so that is possibility. And I think that is all for announcements. What would y'all like to do? Would you like to use the rest of our time for writing? I am going to end our stream.